Monday morning, and it's mansfieldtoday.com. That's the website that we've been getting a fair amount of questions about a certain thing which I want to raise today. We'll sort of steer clear of the markets today because it's something that I don't understand, and it would seem that there are quite a few of you that don't understand it either. It's this thing called Bitcoin. We're joined, as usual, by our business journalist, Chris Gibbons. Chris, thank you very much for taking time out to join us on Mansfield today once again. There was the whole thing with Elon Musk and all the rest of it that evolved a while back. What is this thing called Bitcoin, and what is it all about? And why did Elon Musk sort of waver about this whole thing? Just try and make sense to a moron like me.
Jeremy, greetings to you. Good to see you this Monday morning. Let me preface what follows by saying if anyone says they really, truly understand Bitcoin, they're lying. Bitcoin is an enigma. Elon Musk is an enigma. You put the two together and you have what Gillian Tett of the Financial Times called the Wizard of Oz. Is he manipulating the markets? Is he doing things that perhaps he shouldn't be doing? Well, with Elon Musk, you never know. But Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. It was created some years ago by someone, and we'll come to this a little bit later, we don't really know who that someone is. He's called Satoshi Nakamoto or something of that ilk. Let me just get his exact name for you. He may be a she may be a he. They could be a group of people. We don't know who this person was, but Bitcoin came out of the Satoshi Nakamoto is his name. As I say, no one really knows who he or she is, whether it's a pseudonym for a group. 2009, he launched a white paper explaining how Bitcoin could work, digital currency. 2010, he vanished. We do believe that he has 1 million Bitcoins still to his name, and at $64,000, which is where Bitcoin was a couple of weeks ago, that makes him a very, very wealthy individual or group of individuals indeed. But bring it back to the present. Bitcoin was launched, it stuttered along for a couple of years, and $100, $200. There are apocryphal tales of people buying a couple of pizzas for several hundred Bitcoins, and work that out in current prices. And then it started to take off and finally exploded a couple of years ago, and people got on board. What is Bitcoin? It's a cryptocurrency. It's based on a technology called blockchain. It doesn't actually exist. As long as you and I agree to trade it, it exists. We say it's rubbish, it's bullshit. We don't trade it, it stops existing. It's as simple as that. $64,000, middle of April was the price it hit. And it went there because of Elon Musk. He said that Tesla, his electric motor car company, would accept Bitcoin for payments. $64,000, everyone said 300,000, 400,000, the sky is the limit for Bitcoin. Then almost as suddenly, Musk said, hang on a second, I've changed my mind. Tesla is not going to accept Bitcoin for payment because Bitcoin is dirty. Bitcoin chews huge amounts of electricity in its creation, and therefore we need to use something completely different. I'm totally against Bitcoin. The point, of course, is that Bitcoin chews electricity was known about many years ago. Bitcoin, environmentally not very friendly, known about several years ago. Why did Musk suddenly do this? Is he manipulating the market? Is he playing games with people's minds? Is he doing stuff that is illegal or immoral? Well, that's the question.
That's the point I was wanting to get to at some stage. Has anybody indicated that to date, for example, that he is doing anything illegal, or just an opinion from you? Do you think it was an attempt to manipulate the markets?
This is one of the things about Bitcoin, and its detractors will say it's why it shouldn't exist. It's adherence. So this is the whole point of Bitcoin. It is not regulated. So if Musk is pushing the market up and down, there's no regulator to prosecute him. There's no fraud being committed. He can do pretty much as he wants to. So is he doing something that is illegal? No, I don't believe he is. Is he doing something that is immoral? That, I think, is a very different question.
Okay, but Bitcoin has its fans and it has its detractors as well. Let's look at those two parties. What do the fans say about Bitcoin?
They say you can trade immediately, you can settle immediately. It lowers the cost of transactions. It's decentralized. It's out of the clutches of the bankers and the authorities and all that stuff. It's anonymous or pseudonymous, if you would prefer. You can operate under a pseudonym. 2020, Bitcoin returned 300% as opposed to 18% the S&P 500. So it's an attractive gamble if that has your taste. The Winklevoss twins, the famous Winklevoss twins who dropped out of Harvard after they had a row with Mark Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg settled with them, gave them $65 million to go away. They did. They invested in Bitcoin. They're now worth about $6 billion. Mark Cuban, another big Bitcoin investor, they're all absolutely in favor of it. They say it's the best thing since sliced bread.
Okay, now for people who don't like sliced bread, what are the detractors saying about Bitcoin?
Well, they say exactly the reverse. Because there's no regulation, it's insecure. You can manipulate the market, if that is in fact what Musk is doing. You can money launder. A lot of the ransomware attacks that we're seeing at the moment, those are all being paid for in Bitcoin. We know that Bitcoin has had a very dodgy history in terms of drug smuggling on the dark net and so on and so forth. So there's all of that to think about. Warren Buffett, the sage of Omaha. What does Buffett say about Bitcoin? Buffett says, Bitcoin is a delusion. Bitcoin is rat poison. He wouldn't talk about it, his last big Omaha thing, which was a couple of weekends ago. You know, all the Berkshire Hathaway investors come to Omaha. They flock to hear the sage and his 97-year-old sidekick, Charlie Munger. Munger said, and I quote again, he hates Bitcoin's recent gains. The currency was created out of thin air. It's a go-to payment method for criminals. Somebody else who is not at all keen, Professor Nouriel Roubini, who called the 2008 crash.
Yeah.
He calls Bitcoin shitcoin, quote, shitcoin, and a self-fulfilling bubble. So what about somebody who's maybe a little bit more mainstream? Jamie Dimon, Mr. Banking, the CEO of JP Morgan. Jamie Dimon says he is still not personally sold on the cryptocurrency, although JP Morgan is using blockchain in its technology. And Dimon says he would not dream of telling clients what to do. In other words, if you're a JP Morgan client and you want to have a dabble in Bitcoin, please feel free.
But having said that, Chris, more and more companies are looking at Bitcoin.
Absolutely. And again, we come to the underlying technology, blockchain, as opposed to just Bitcoin itself. To give you some names, PayPal, Square, JP Morgan we've mentioned, Fidelity, Northern Trust, all on board. Companies like Boeing, Samsung, Tesla, of course, Novartis, they're all using blockchain technology to improve their supply chains, share customer data, and generally just speed up business processes.
But Bitcoin, though, isn't the only cryptocurrency. Am I correct? There are others around.
There certainly are. There are 4,000, believe it or not.
Wow.
Ethereum is perhaps the best known alongside Bitcoin. Dogecoin, we've been hearing a lot about. Dogecoin was started as a joke. Somebody said this whole Bitcoin cryptocurrency thing is nonsense. I will show you it's nonsense. And he invented Dogecoin with its Shiimu mascot, the dog mascot. That joke cryptocurrency is up 12,000% this year alone. Some joke, seems to me. But of the other ones, Ethereum, Ripple, Bitcoin Cash, Cardano, Litecoin, EOS, Stellar, IOTA, Neo, and then of course Bitcoin itself. That'll probably give you the top 10 of the other cryptos if you're thinking about having a dabble.
Okay, before we wrap it up and say goodbye to you on this Monday, let's put it on the block. Do you own any Bitcoin?
That is a very good question. No, I don't own any Bitcoin. I don't own any cryptocurrencies. And as to recommending them or not, I must state very clearly that I don't give financial advice for two reasons. The first is I am not licensed. You have to be a licensed financial advisor to give financial advice. I am not. But secondly, and actually much more important, the financial advice I do give is awful. I'm usually completely wrong. So I stopped giving financial advice even to friends and family a long time ago. Why don't I own Bitcoin, you ask? Well, you're talking here to the person who managed to miss Nas Pers. I also managed to miss Capitec. I'm reminded of the story of the crash of 1929, Jeremy. One of the investors who managed to get out of the market before the crash happened was asked how he had known when it was time to sell. And his reply was that he'd heard the elevator boys and the newspaper sellers giving out stock tips, giving out their recommendations. In my case, 3 years ago, I was going to hospital to have a small operation on my foot, and my surgeon and his anesthetist were talking about Bitcoin as they wheeled me into the operating theater. 6 months ago, my general practitioner was asking me all about Ethereum. And now you have Elon Musk talking it up, talking it down, talking it up, talking it down. We're back in pre-1929 crash terms as far as I'm concerned personally. So no, I don't own Bitcoin. I don't own any other cryptos, and I have no intention of buying them either.
Well, he may not be the world's best financial advisor, but he is one of our country's finest business journalists. Chris Gibbons, thank you very much for joining us once again on Mansfield Today, and we'll catch you again next Monday. Thanks, Chris. Bye-bye.